If admin, and I was just going to stop at admin, but this also includes educators that blindly follow admin. When admin receive feedback, they receive feedback. And rather than sitting with that feedback and maybe some discomfort, reflecting on it, doing some research, they can and will cause harm if they regress and start behaving, using some practices, using some tactics that are rooted in white supremacy culture. These behaviors cause harm because it creates an inequitable environment in your buildings. It harms the BIPOC educators, and it's not like we have that many in our buildings anyways. And this also includes their allies. That's another part. It also includes their allies. So like, what practices am I talking about? And just a quick pause. This is not new information. This is not information that I created. This is not information that I made up. This is research. Books have been written on this subject. So it's not new, but let's talk about it. So let's start with perfectionism. You are over-focused on minor mistakes and just holding on to that. You're prioritizing paperwork, data, and the correct language over the actual impact and the relationships. Then we got power hoarding, right? Which is basically rejecting the feedback of all the BIPOC educators, allies, and punishing them when they speak up. We're leaving all the decision-making to those on top. And we're basically not involving our staff, our community, our families, our students from being part of those decisions. Going along with that, we have paternalism, which is basically assuming administrators know what's best for our students, for our families, for our staff without actually asking anyone. You're dismissing the concern of the BIPOC staff and the families as emotional or something that's unrealistic. Another one that goes with it is defensiveness. You start responding to anything related to equity with denial, excuses instead of reflecting. And you're basically prioritizing your white staff over the experience of marginalized communities. And it feels even ickier when the population you serve is Black and brown. Then we got fear of open conflict. We might have heard, well, we already tried it. So now we're avoiding difficult conversations about race, equity, systemic oppression, and basically avoidance is leading to silencing or disciplining staff that bring up discrimination, issues of race, issues of concern, and feedback. Then we got pushing for individualism. So you start rewarding your staff that go above and beyond instead of addressing the systemic workload issues. You expect the staff to figure it out or give them some time instead of creating some spaces that are supportive and we can make some collective solutions. Then there's the worship of the written word. So valuing policies and reports and documentation over lived experiences. You disregard oral traditions or alternative ways of knowing and communicating. So it might be like per my last email type of feel instead of having face-to-face conversations. And then there's objectivity, which I call this because there's still some bias in it. You're dismissing lived experiences of racism or inequality as not anecdotal or evidence-based. You're expecting the marginalized staff or our students to present their concerns in a calm and logical way. Our students should be a personal matter. Along with that one is policing language and tone, dismissing any concerns that are expressed emotionally or passionately, like you have to be calm when you're presenting or giving feedback. Then we got urgency culture, right? So you're forcing quick decisions without meaningful input from anyone in the community. You're prioritizing efficacy over equity. And even when it's harmful, we're going to do this now, and then we'll reflect on it, or we talk about it, or even ask your staff. Along with the written word, we got there's only one right way, insisting on the rigid rules and policies without consideration of cultural differences or individual needs, including SPED. What we're really doing is assuming that white middle class norms are the standards, and we're rejecting all other approaches. bear with me, I only have like 4 more. Tokenism, which I learned about it in college, didn't realize it happened in the professional world too, is inviting BIPOC families, staff into meetings, but not really listening to them. You're highlighting diversity efforts in the materials that we're sending home with our students, but not really addressing systemic issues. Then there's focusing on intent over impact. So we're saying things like, well, we didn't mean that. That's not what we meant. You're never really taking accountability of the harm you've caused. And then expecting BIPOC staff and families to educate leadership once the harm was done, instead of them doing the work themselves. That's not really our job. This one, ignoring cultural knowledge and expertise. So you're discrediting your bilingual staff, cultural liaisons, unless their work aligns with admin, with leadership. You're assuming the traditional models of therapy, of education, of discipline are the only valid approaches. And the last one, I promise for now, it's going to tie everything together, right? Because you're doing all of these things, and the message that you're sending out is that you are prioritizing whiteness as default. You are treating the white staff and the students as a norm while asking everyone else to assimilate. You're assuming English is the only professional language and discouraging bilingualism, so you're asking your students and your staff to not speak their native language around you for fear of them talking about you. That one just feels gross. And that is the end of my list, but I can honestly talk about it for days. I'm actually getting hot thinking about it, because as a BIPOC educator, I have heard about it, I've seen it, I have experienced it myself, and my main point is that it causes harm. It causes harm not to address these practices that are rooted in white supremacy, and using these tactics to target educators is the real reason that is causing division in our buildings. And it's a real reason why we might not be feeling some progress in the anti-racist realm and the culture and climate in our buildings, because we're still doing the same things that we know it's not working, and we know it's not healthy, and we know it's harming people, everyone. I honestly don't know how to end this video. So oh, actually, it's my spring break and I have some time, so if you guys feel comfortable sharing, share your stories. Let them be heard, known, and get a little bit off your chest if you need to. Have a great week.